I start with this question. If you could sum your career up in one word with everything you've done so far, how would you describe it?
A complete accident. That's 2 words, but yeah, I shouldn't really be a wrestler, to be honest with you. I kind of just fell into it, and the ball's been rolling ever since. Obviously, I've done a couple of podcasts before, so this question has kind of came up. But new podcast, new fan base, new listeners, whatever. So originally, I was a semi-pro mixed martial artist. Well, amateur A. That's essentially what it was called. It was called amateur A, but it was considered semi-professional. It was that one stop before you turn pro. I was training with a mixed martial arts gym. I still work there now as a sports therapist. So I was with them competing from the age of like 16 to about 21. And the last fight that I had, I took it on 24 hours notice, lost a split decision. And essentially, I just spat my dummy out because I was 21, egotistical, and said I'm never fighting again. And quite luckily, at the time, the place that had the MMA gym also had a pro wrestling gym. They were subletting from Hammer, from the Mixed Martial Arts Academy. And it was Kieran McConnell and I think it was Zach Gibson at the time. So it was Infinite Promotions, and it was originally started by Kieran McConnell and Zach Gibson. And it was Kieran who came up to me and went, "Do you know what? Like, have you ever thought about giving it a go?" And the usual stories of like, yeah, I've watched it as a kid. I kind of fell out of it, and then essentially thought I'd give it a go. And I wouldn't say I sort of like a duck to water to it, but the technical aspect of it, I found quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And 10 years later, couple of little ups and downs here and there, but that's essentially where I am now. To say my wrestling career is a complete accident is probably the truth.
There you go. And you mentioned obviously similarities. Is there any other ones which obviously is like similar, like from MMA to wrestling?
It's strange. It's the complete opposite, but completely the same at the same time. It's really weird. So, like, the technical aspect of it, when you break down what professional wrestling is, essentially it came down from especially in the UK, it came from like catch wrestling and all these shoot style stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to think how to describe it. So there is like that air of realism to professional wrestling, and then on a complete opposite, when we talk about quote unquote the cell, it's a complete opposite because you're getting punched in the face in mixed martial arts and pretending that you're hurt, and then in professional wrestling, sorry to peel back the curtain, you are not getting punched in the face and basically having to sell that you've been shot by a 12 gauge shotgun at times. So the technical aspects of it are very much the same. The theatre side and the selling and all stuff like that is just the complete opposite.
Okay. What was that first bump like? I've got to ask.
Yeah, it took the wind out of me, but a lot of people say like you can tell whether or not someone's made for professional wrestling the minute they take that first bump. Either they'll have that wide-eyed like, holy shit, what have I gotten myself into? Or you've also got the people who take a bump, get up straight away and be like, I want to do it again. And the end of that first session where you're doing 50 to 60 bumps, 40 to 50 of them are going to be completely shocking because you're landing a little bit too low, a little bit too high. Your body's done by the end of it. It's the second session that's the most important one. It's whether or not you want to go back.
Okay. So talk about obviously the build up to your first match and what that like experience was like for you.
There's a couple of first time matches. Well, just first match in general. I kind of consider it as the first time you get paid for a gig. You get paid for your professional wrestling. And then you've also got the first time you step in front of a live crowd, which especially for the Northwest scene, the majority of them, it'll probably be the Britannia Carnivals, the BWP Carnivals in North Wales. And my coach took me down. So the first match was, looking back on it, it probably was dog shit. Yeah, would have just been completely dog shit. But I came out the back of it and got a couple of compliments and whatnot. And then there was like your first sort of like little fill in, a squash match, whatever else. So I think me and a mate of mine got squashed by Ashton Smith on a show. I can't remember if I got paid for that. I think it was just like a last minute spur of the moment sort of, let's get some reps in. And then my first ever paid match was against Dean Allmark. So safe to say I was completely shit in the bed with that one as well, because you've got Dean Allmark in front of you and your trainers are going. Tell you what, I'll rewind that for a second. There was probably about 5 or 6 of us at the time who were all training together, like day ones, etc., etc. And as the matches for this show was getting announced, it was like, oh, friend number 1 versus friend number 2. They were training together. They're going to do like a tag team match with X, Y, and Z. Oh, there's going to be an 8-man tag. And, oh, yeah, Lewis, you've got Dean Allmark. So my ass just fell out and hit the floor. I was actually speaking to Dean earlier today about this as well. When I got there on the day, obviously Dean's absolutely excellent. He could make a broom look good in a wrestling match. So he'd arguably probably make a broom look better than the match that me and him had. But he came up to me and just said, like, yeah, we'll wrestle for a bit. We'll do this, and this, and then we'll go into the back end. Let's plan it from there. So when you're fresh out of a training school, you kind of plan the heat. You kind of plan the hopes. You kind of sometimes you even plan like the tech, because you're fresh. You want everything to be so micromanaged that you're not really used to doing things on the fly. And having Dean Allmark go, yeah, we'll just wing it for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll go into the back end. Like, my ass fell through the floor. But yeah, that first match in front of a crowd, it was great. Dean looks after me. Came back buzzing, and I'm probably really, really thankful for Dean, because he made my first paid match anyway, very, very difficult. But it was never going to look awful, because you had someone of such a high caliber in there to be able to look after you. And it kind of filled you with a little bit of confidence that, like, maybe everything doesn't necessarily need to be meticulously thought out when you're planning a wrestling match.
Exactly, and stuff like that. Now, I've noticed you wearing an Isaac North t-shirt. What's that guy like behind the scenes? Because, you know what I mean? He's probably one of my absolute favourite wrestlers that you've seen.
He's probably going to kill me for saying this, but he is an absolute sweetheart. It tends to be with professional wrestling, either like the very good heels who are like very, very hated tend to be absolute sweethearts, just incredible human beings. But to save face for kayfabe, he's just exactly the same as he is. He's just exactly the same as he is in the ring as he is out of it. It's just that old adage of your character is who you are turned up to 11. So Isaac North is a massive goth in the ring. He's a massive goth out the ring. It's just there's a little bit less roaring in your face when you're when he's out of the ring.
So I want to move away from wrestling a little bit, because you said that you're a graphic designer for TNT, Infinite Promotions, etc., etc. How did this all come about? Because this is probably one of the biggest things when it comes to wrestling, the promotional side.
Again, like going off how I became a professional wrestler, it was a complete accident how I got into graphic design as well. There's a bunch of people in the Brit Rest scene that are absolutely excellent at stuff to do. We talk about Elliot, he's all over the place. Aspen Faith, who does a lot for Rise and a couple up in Scotland. He formerly done some bits for TNT as well. They're both absolutely incredible. But this was just after lockdown, so it was around about 2021, 2022. I was supposed to be going around to my now ex-partner's house for Christmas dinner with a family. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, they had to isolate, and it was still around about that time where people are still doing that. So for the majority of Christmas, I was basically on my own with nothing necessarily to do. So I just decided I'm going to get Photoshop. I'm just going to have a little play about with this. Pardon me. Yeah, just have a little play about with graphic designs and stuff. And there was a company that I originally started wrestling for who was a handful of my mates. At the time, there was one who still is a very close mate of mine, another one who's not really in the scene anymore. The designs weren't very good. And I just came up to him and went, listen, like, I'm not perfect. I need reps to be able to create posts and stuff like that. I just know for a fact that they're better than yours. I said, you're not, yeah, sounds a bit egotistical, but some of these graphics were god awful. And it was just a slight improvement. And then they gave me the ability to try new things out in the real world with different wrestlers' promo pics and different styles and whatever else. And it just started snowballing from there. I got better. I still look back on some designs that I'd done 6 months ago, a year ago, and think they are god awful. But I'm obviously getting to the point now where Infinite Promotions likes to use me. I've obviously gotten to the point where TNT, one of the bigger shows in the UK, like to use me. So I'm clearly doing something right. And yeah, I'm just trying to get better with that every day. I'll probably at the end of this, I'll probably try and design a poster, see what techniques work, see what techniques don't work. And yeah, if something does work, I'll put that in the bank and just go, okay, when a company asks for something, I'll go and design that.
I've got a follow-up question for that. What's the process then, obviously, from, like, say, TNT to use your design? Is there like a process for it?
Not really. I'm just really good mates with Jay Apter. So I train at Claw, which is Jay Apter School. This obviously Dean Ormark teaches there, Lucy Sky, Sonna Durson. Yeah, just go there to get the reps. It's only around the corner from mine. So I've been in and out with the TNT for probably about 2 years, 3 years, with doing ring crew, obviously working shows on a more permanent basis. And I think it was just his designer at the time just ended up saying, like, Jay ended up saying, like, "Hiya, mate, like, my designer's busy with X, Y, and Z. If I just send you something, will you be able to mock something up and just keep the ball rolling?" And eventually it just turned out that he preferred my style to the previous designers. And that's not a knock on the previous designer. I think he just wanted something a little bit fresh, a little bit of a different style and moving forward that way. So I'm really good mates with Jay. He'll say, right, this is the show coming up. I want it this style. And then we'll bounce back and forward a little bit. But it's quite nice that he gives me creative control. And most of the show names are quite self-explanatory. You've got Level Up, which is going to be like quite video gamey. Mm-hmm. Then you've got DOA, which sometimes is going to be bloody, barbed wire, all this type of cool stuff. And then from there, you've just got different shows. So you've got Cold Day in Hell. It's going to be fiery. It's going to be icy. And yeah, he just tends to trust what I'm doing. I'll send him a rough idea of what I'm going to do. If he doesn't like it, I'll try again. But 9 times out of 10, he tends to like what I do.
I mean, I'm just going to say that I'm looking at your designs now on your Instagram. Spot on, man. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm getting there. I'll look back on them in a year's time and think they're absolutely god awful, but that's how you get better, I suppose.
It's like everything in it. You're constantly evolving. You're constantly learning, even in wrestling.
Oh yeah, 100%. It sort of ebbs and flows. So I've been saying this a lot recently. You'll have like a good couple of matches with people who either are slightly above, slightly below, or at your skill level, because you're kind of on the same wavelength. You're kind of on the same thought process. And even when you're wrestling people who are a little bit greener than you, and you'll pull them through like a good match, and then they're happy and they're buzzing, and you think to yourself like, wow, I'm actually all right here. I'm doing good. And then you'll wrestle someone from like NXT UK. So I wrestled Sam Gradwell recently twice, And I just remember after it, just thinking to myself, wow, I am the drizzling shits. Because it is the level that people like Sam Gradwell operate at. People at my level don't even think. And when you get pulled up to that level, you get a little glimpse and you go, wow, I've not even been thinking about this throughout my entire career. And then it makes you go back and think about it and then improve from there. So yeah, it sort of ebbs and flows. You think you're good 1 minute and then you think you're absolutely awful the next. And I suppose that's how you get better.
Would you say then that when it comes to wrestling, you're your own worst critic in a way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm very lucky that I've got mates around me who are honest. Again, Liam Carr, he actually said to me last night, he was like, "Oh yeah, that match you had recently was fucking awful." I said, "You look slow, you look this, you look that." But I'd sooner have him say this to me than almost have like a fake friend who'd say like, "Oh yeah, that was good, that was right," and then you just think you're at that level, and then you find out the hard way. Whereas when you've got mates who are telling you why you've gone wrong or what you need to do to get better, it's not out of because they don't like you, it's because they absolutely adore you and want you to get better at this.
So talk a little bit about Trail of Dead, because I'm curious with this.
What do you want to know?
How did it all come about?
So originally it was Chase Alcala and Max Brooker. They were like the original two. And I ended up wrestling Chase at a show in Hooters. Infinite Promotions done Independence Day 2024, I believe, in Hooters, Liverpool. And I wrestled Chase. Had a really fun match. Pardon me. Yeah, I had a really fun match at the end of it. I used to go down to Atomic because the lads there are incredible. It's another local independent promotion to me. So I went down there to help out. Taught one of the promoters basically how to use a little bit of OBS Studio in regards to sound and playing trons on a projector and treating it like that. So I already liked it. And they were talking about just bringing in a third person for Trail of Dead. So after I wrestled Chase, I just went, hey, like, if there's anything there for me, I'd love to jump on. Like, I'd love to work for Atomic if that's like my sort of way in. If you need like a heavy or anything like that, then give me a shout. 2-3 weeks later, I wrestled Max in a one-on-one as a babyface. That was my Atomic debut, I believe. I think I might have done a Rumble for them the year before. But yeah, done a singles match with Max, and then the nice turn on the end of it was Max cheated me out of win the match. So the next show, when they're about to cheat again, I come out making it look like I'm going to do the save with the chair and then hit Jack Critchy in the head and then align myself with Trail of Dead, and that's how it came about.
Interesting. So we put on Instagram also for fan questions, so we're going to knock these out. The first one comes from Callum Crow, and it says, thoughts on crows?
Thoughts on crows? Crows before hoes. Yeah. Yeah, he's just following me around a little bit at the moment, isn't he? Me and him have got a match coming up on the 4th of April for TNT. That's the one right there. That crow in particular, I'm going to throw him all about Hangar 34 and realise that he's not at the level to be able to step up to me just yet. And like I said before, there's probably going to be people that come after Callum Crow that are going to make me feel like I'm the worst wrestler in existence. And yeah, hopefully it's one of those where I can beat the shit out of him and give me a little bit of an ego boost.
There you go. Pretty But Deadly says, a fan interaction that stands out for you?
There's two in particular. And they're both not really that good. Yeah, there's loads of wrestling fans. They are sometimes the best thing about professional wrestling, sometimes the worst thing about professional wrestling. That just happens with every walk of life. one fan interaction that I can remember specifically is I've been a little bit of a menace at Infinite Promotions, so I've been beating up referees and whatever else. And so as I'm saying this, my partner's in the other room, and I've just heard her start pissing herself laughing. So I've been beating up referees and whatnot, to the point where this referee wanted a match with me. Win the match quite easily. Shout out to Jaden. I think that was his first ever wrestling match, his first ever singles match. He done really well. As I'm celebrating, waiting for the story with Sam Gradwell to start, Sam Gradwell makes his big return 14 months after ACL surgery. His music hits, and then not Sam Gradwell storms the ring and starts punching me in the face. And not Sam Gradwell turned out to be a 15-year-old lad who jumped the ring from the crowd, who clearly had some form of learning or social difficulties and just wanted to be a wrestler and believed that's how you become a wrestler. So he stormed the ring, started punching me in the face in the corner. Not proud to say that I've probably seen a little bit of red and didn't realize that he was a child at the time, but I turned him round, went to throw a punch. Luckily, I didn't hit him, and Sam Gradwell managed to come in at the same time and push me out the ring. But the best thing about this is you could tell he was a wrestling fan because he got the center of the ring. He guarded the center of that ring with Sam Gradwell checking on the referee. And Gradwell turns to him and goes, because he didn't know that this was, he thought this was just like something that happened last minute. And he looks at him and goes, "Who are you?" He looks up at him like full main character energy and goes, "I'm George." So Gradwell just looks down and goes, "Fuck yeah, George." And then there's Sam Gradwell, some 15-year-old kid who's just assaulted me, and a half-dead referee on the floor, getting the biggest pop of the night. And safe to say he got kicked out straight afterwards, because that's not what you do in professional wrestling. If you want to be a professional wrestler, don't jump in the wrestling ring, because luckily I'm one of the nice ones. And you've seen the video of Triple H suplexing that guy who went into attack Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff like that. And the thing that happened with Seth Rollins, this isn't a way how to make a name for yourself. And it's always a roll of the dice whether or not you've got someone who will actually fight you or will just try and subdue you and make the best out of the situation that's come. But that is a very memorable one for me.
I mean, when you think about it, that situation could have been scary. Do you know what I mean? You don't know what could happen.
Oh yeah, like he could have. It was a council estate in the middle of North Liverpool, so that 15-year-old could have had a gun. Yeah, so he could have went in with a knife. He could have went. It was a little church hall, like parish hall venue in the middle of quite a rough council estate in North Liverpool, and I love the venue. I love the fans. They're absolutely amazing. They're some of the rowdiest fans you've ever met in your life. All the time, they're respectful. The kids will give it to you. They'll obviously like take it, and it's so much fun all night. But there's just one person who decides to run in the ring. You don't know what's happening, and yeah, it could have been quite as bad for him. It could have been bad for me. We're just lucky we got out of the back end of it. But looking back on it, it was extremely hilarious, and it's the fact that as a heel you can generate that much heat and dislike that people want to run into the ring. I think I've done my job right that night.
Absolutely. So the last one comes from Lunatic Louise. Now, you've obviously been in the ring with people like RPD and stuff like that, but he says, what's some of your dream opponents? Who would you like to get in the ring with?
Wow, that's a good one. There's I like my dream opponents to be quite realistic. I'm never going to say like, oh, I want to wrestle The Undertaker. That would have been incredible. It's not likely. The people who are in WWE right now, probably quite unlikely. When it comes to the British scene, you're only one or two matches away from being like the next big thing. So I think especially on the British scene, you're only like a couple of degrees of separation from wrestling these guys, depending on how good you do or how bad you do. I've had my eye on Charles Crowley for a little bit. I just think Charles Crowley would be a lot of fun to be able to work. People like Bullet's absolutely incredible. I'd be remiss, two of the shows that I work for primarily, TNT and Infinite, you've got Trent Seven, who is the TNT, who's wrestling for the TNT Ignition Championship soon. On the same show, I've got Callum Crowe, and he's also currently the Infinite Promotions World Heavyweight Champion. I'm on those shows quite consistently, so the fact that I'm crossing paths with this man, I think it makes it quite realistic that I'd be able to wrestle him, hopefully in the next couple of years or what have you, but he's definitely a dream opponent of mine as well.
One which caught my eye straight away is Saxon Huxley. I think you and Saxon would be really good.
So a funny story about that. I was wrestling for TNT and started investing in like a big fur coat and stuff like that, just to add to essentially my presentation as a professional wrestler. I was speaking to Joe Connors, and I just walked out to the corner of my eye, big fur coat on me, hair down, and Joe Connors turned around and went, "Fucking hell, I thought you was Huxley for a second then." And it was the biggest compliment I've ever been given in my life, because Saxon Huxley looks like he's been chiseled out of stone. So I just turned around and just said, yeah, if he's not on his diet or anything like that, if he's put on a couple of pounds, I can see it. But it was a very big compliment that someone assumed that I was Saxon Huxley for even a split second.
I'm thinking more like, the style and, like you said, the coat and stuff like that. I think that'd be interesting though if you get a chance to.
Oh yeah, obviously Huxley's over in Japan quite a lot with Noah, and the scene that he primarily does is obviously Yorkshire ways. So I'm not really in Yorkshire that much at the moment, but hopefully that comes along, and sort of those matches with people like Huxley, with people like Liam Slater. There's a couple of people that way who I'd love to wrestle, but I can't see the steps how to get there yet. Once that becomes a little bit more clear, I'd love to lock up with people like them.
Absolutely. So for people obviously not familiar with yourself, what match which you've had is the best representation of you?
Oh, there's a few. I'm gonna say it's not so much a match. It's almost like a trilogy, actually a quadrilogy, that I had with Liam Carr at TNT. One was not recorded, so there was me and Liam Carr at All Eyes on Me, High Voltage, and Aftershock 2025. So that was last year. Again, you've heard the old adage of like, oh, you always hit your mates harder. Like Liam Carr's a very, very close friend of mine. And that little trilogy or 4 matches that we had was a hell of a lot of fun and culminated in a 3 stages of hell match. So you can sort of see the more sadistic style of me versus Liam. And you can also see a lot of the technical aspects, because the first match out of the 4 was a singles match. The second match was a no holds barred. The third was a submission match. And the last one was a 3 stages of hell. And the 3 stages in that were the original 3 matches that we had. So we went into a singles match, a submission match, and a no holds barred to end it. But yeah, if you check that out on Triller, TNT, Extreme Wrestling over on Triller, like I said, All Eyes on Me, High Voltage, and Aftershock 2024 in that order. And that's probably the best representation you're going to get of me.
There you go, and stuff like that. So you've obviously, like I said, you've been in there with a lot of people who've obviously alluded to that, but what's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Oh, you make me think now. Yeah, I don't want to say all the easy ones, like if you think you're going too slow, slow down and all that. Actually, no, I'll name drop Sam Gradwell again. When he was coaching one of my sessions, he said to me, in regards to selling, you always should think, what hurts, who done it, what am I going to do about it? So if you're selling in the corner, you've just been smashed in the face by something, you think to yourself, what hurts? My jaw. Who's done it? Liam. What am I going to do about it? I'm going to get up and fucking punch him in the face. And that gives you enough time to be able to convey to the crowd essentially what's just happened, give them enough time to digest it and show a little bit of emotion. So in terms of wrestling specific things, what hurts, who done it, what am I going to do about it? And probably some of the best bits of advice has been from the legendary Gypsy John Kenny, which is just being, that is fucking shite, consistently. And whenever he told you something wasn't bad, it feels like you just had a 5-star from Meltzer, because he used to ridicule everyone, saying everyone was shit, everyone can't wrestle, this, that, and the other. And the minute he said that wasn't half bad, you know you've impressed him.
There you go. So you've obviously talked about your wrestling. We've talked about obviously your graphic design, sports therapist. How do you juggle all this? Do you know what I mean? Do you get time to yourself, man?
With caffeine and the occasional meltdown, that's sort of how you do it. Yeah, it's technically, again, pulling the curtain back, technically I've got 4 jobs, if you include professional wrestling as one of them. Not super active with pro wrestling, but it is on average once or twice a weekend. It's not like I'm doing full-time tours up and down the country with like some Mega Slam and All Star. It's still very weekend. I'd consider it part-time work. With graphic design and sports massage or sports therapy, it's very much self-employed. So again, it ebbs and flows. I'm going to be busy some weeks, I'm going to be busy other times. So to counter all that, I've just got a nice, easy part-time 9 to 5 sort of gimmick, where if I don't have any wrestling for the month, if I don't have any sports massage clients or sports therapy clients, or don't have any graphics that I need to do, I've still got a roof over my head and food on the table. I think there was a thing with John Cena a few years ago when he said, I work because I want to wrestle. Like, I will do anything I can Monday to Friday to be able to do the things that I love on the weekend. I'm just quite fortunate that half of the other jobs that aren't wrestling is graphic design, sports massage, sports therapy. I enjoy them a lot, and it feels like you're doing something a little bit different every single day. And that keeps things a little bit fresh. And then, like I said, roof over my head, food on the table. If I can get those hours in weekly, monthly, what have you, then I know I can go out and do the other things that I want to do and still feel quite safe and still feel quite secure financially. So yeah, I'd say 3 of them are more fun, but I get paid for doing hobbies. I get paid for doing something that I love, so it doesn't really feel like work. The 3 or 4 days a week that I've got to be in the other place feels like work, and it's a bit shit, and I'd sooner be elsewhere. But yeah, that's sort of how we juggle it.
That is a good answer. Do you know what? I mean, I really like that answer, by the way. Thank you for that. So we hadn't talked a little bit about the fan base. I mean, obviously you said you do a lot of work for Infinite. How would you describe the fan base?
Of Infinite in general?
Yeah.
There's 3 different venues that they do. They have just recently moved into the Azvex Brewery, which was Atomic's old venue. Atomic's gone over to another venue across town. It's slightly bigger. We originally had Hoosers, and then obviously if you look on the news, it's not really too difficult to find. Hoosers and in Liverpool ended up shutting down. It's rebranding. They decided to tell us that 3 weeks before a show, and we had to find a venue stop. So we quite nicely got in touch with the Atomic lads. They said, we're not using it, go ahead, have it. So we moved to Azvex. The fan base in there, our first show was last Thursday. So at the time of recording, I'm not it's Yeah, it's Monday the 16th, so it was Thursday the 12th. We didn't mean for it to be an 18 plus crowd because we opened it to all family friendly, but all it takes is you're in a brewery for a start, so all it takes is a couple of the older lads to have a drink, and the footy chants start coming out, and the 3 or 4 kids in the audience that were expecting a nice little family friendly fun were joining in on the chants. So that's a lot of fun. So that's one venue. Bootle Cricket Club's a slightly bigger venue. It can fit, I think we done near enough 400 in there for one of our big shows, not last year, the year before. And again, that's your nice mix of family friendly, indie fans, and you get like a really good mix and match of people in there. And then Neverton, the small little church social club, the kids are absolutely feral and they're fantastic. Like you can just, you see a 12-year-old lad putting his ciggy out in the corner, taking a swig of Stella. It's a lot of fun. So much so, if we go back to Isaac North, Isaac's a scary dude. To 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, probably going to be the scariest thing you ever see in live. I've seen in the Neverton venue a kid take his shirt off, front Isaac, and say, "What are you going to do about it, you pedo?" And Isaac had no idea how to react to that, so he just had to move out the way, get in the ring, and do a little bit. But yeah, the kids in Neverton are feral and they're not scared of anything.
No shit.
But it makes a good crowd because they're constantly giving you shit. You're seeing like 7-year-olds putting the middle finger up to you, and you're like, how are you even supposed to know what those gestures are? But it's just comes with the culture in some areas. You get brought up a little bit rougher. It doesn't mean you're any less of a good person for it. It's just, yeah.
Now, what about a TNT crowd? Because this is one show I want to get to, but it's obviously timings.
So TNT's the crowd's amazing. Again, you're looking at. I'm more so on the family friendly ones at the moment, but you do have the 18 plus on the evening. Again, the family friendly crowds, they are. I don't want to say you're generic wrestling fans, but they're the ones that you're going to expect to see. You are going to get a couple of like independent wrestling fans, even the ones who've like traveled in to see the evening show. You'll see the matinee in the afternoon. But yeah, you tend to get like it's very mums and dads bringing the kids, good fun wrestling in the afternoon, and then the evening show just gets flipped on its head with all the over 18s, again, all the football chants, all the quite unique chants and stuff like that they tend to bring out. Haven't been in front of that crowd yet, but I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to soon enough because, yeah, it's a different kettle of fish, the evening show. But the afternoon show is arguably sometimes busier and arguably sometimes rowdier. It's just, it's just a different atmosphere.
Absolutely. So before you obviously go out and perform, how do you get yourself into the zone before you wrestle?
I don't. It's quite a difficult one for me, to be honest. Again, we'll go back to Isaac North. He's screaming the backstage down, doing his little war cry just to hype himself up. But with me, I'm very there's not really much that I do. Obviously, you do the wrestler dance when you're planning the matches and stuff like that backstage. But yeah, there's no sort of hyping myself up. I'll just go over the last little bits of what I need to remember for the match, any of like the big moments. But it just kind of switches on when you go through the curtain. Might be like a second or two before, but you just get that face, you get the reaction of the crowd, and you go off that, as opposed to getting yourself into some sort of mindset and then the crowd being completely opposite. So yeah, there's not really a lot of preparation. It's quite boring. Little bit of a warm up, do the wrestler dance, planning the match, and then go out there. Yeah.
So let's turn that question 180. How do you wind down after a match?
Oh, I can't. Again, it's impossible to. There's times where I'm up to like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because you're on that like post-show high. Yeah, you just when you've had a good match and the adrenaline's pumping through you, it's kind of hard to go to sleep. But unfortunately, going back to my me job, the one that I don't necessarily enjoy that much. They're quite nice with me, to be fair. So they've given me set days that I'm allowed in. They've given me every Saturday off to wrestle and blah blah blah. And whenever I need a Friday or a Sunday off as well, if I message them like a month or two in advance and just go, listen, I've got these dates coming up. Can I just swap this Friday for a Wednesday? Can I swap this for that? They're really accommodating, and it's really appreciated. Even though I don't necessarily enjoy it because it's work, I'd sooner be doing something a little bit more fun. They are very accommodating, and it's quite nice. But unfortunately, like if I'm not wrestling on a Sunday, I'll be nice and say, right, I'm not working. I'm wrestling on the Saturday, but I'm not wrestling on the Sunday. I'll work the Sunday because you want ideally a weekend shift in there. So I'm in at like 11:30 the next day, and there's such a really bad case of the Mondays, or like a proper come down to earth moment when people are buying your merch, people are asking for autographs, you're getting paid, you're out in front of couple of hundred people, if I'm lucky, 1,000 people when it's some big shows, and then you put on a uniform for a job that you're not really enjoying, and you're there just doing the mundane stuff and speaking to customers and clientele and whatnot, and you're thinking to yourself, I was a Z-list celebrity yesterday, and now no one's really asked who you are. So that's probably the biggest come down from wrestling for me. Is I've got to get up in the morning, put a uniform on, and go and work.
Night before, I was getting punched by a 15-year-old. Now I'm talking to clients.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's more or less the life of a wrestler. Sometimes it's glamorous. Sometimes it's you're having fights in a church hall with a 15-year-old.
So obviously, a few lot more questions, mate, as we begin to wind down and stuff like that. For you, what's the most rewarding thing when it comes to wrestling?
The most rewarding thing that comes. This is quite a hard one to talk about. So, obviously, again, going back to Isaac North, have you seen little James Roddy, who ends up coming to support him sometimes? He's a primordial dwarf. He wears the Isaac North face paint. You've probably seen him post about it quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, there was two. There was young Alex and young James, and wow, just over a year ago, Alex passed away. So unfortunately, with primordial dwarfism, you don't really get like a very long life expectancy. The fact that James is now 25 is quite impressive. So Alex passed away at 18 or 19, I believe, and we done a wrestling show. In support, his mum and Alex's mum and dad used to run still do a charity called the Walking with Giants Foundation. Anyone, please check that out and donate to them, because some of the work they do is absolutely incredible. So Alex passed away in the January of last year, and we done a wrestling show. I believe it was April, and we got 7 or 8 different promotions from the Northwest to all.
I remember this.
Yep. So Infinite Promotions presents Live Forever. We had TNT, Atomic, Off the Page, ourselves, EPW, Odyssey, GPW, and I am very sorry if I've forgotten the other one. But we raised loads of money. I think we had about 300 people in there, and the most rewarding thing is to be able to be a part of that and do something for the memory of Alex. That he absolutely loved wrestling. He'd send us voice notes every single day, talk to us every single day, and it still affects a lot of the guys now. Obviously, so much so that James still comes to wrestling shows, but Alex's mum and dad still come to wrestling shows, and they always used to come because of Alex. And even though Alex isn't here, they still come to shows, and they've become a big part of our lives. So I trade all these like rewarding things that I got from doing that show, just to have him back. But being able to get a bunch of companies that don't usually work together, and a lot of companies in the UK don't really have many crossovers. But the fact that we got 7 or 8 different companies to all bring in the champions and put on this show in the memory of Alex, that's probably the proudest moment that I'll ever do in professional wrestling, arguably. Yeah, sorry it got a little bit miserable then, but yeah, there's nothing that's ever going to top that, personally, for me.
And I always remember that, like you said, there were 8 promotions. I don't think I've seen it on that scale ever. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no, not at all. But these were all the promotions that Alex went to alongside James. Yeah, he was like every single weekend was traveling up to Morecambe for Odyssey. He was traveling down to Stoke for Pro Wrestling for You, and there was loads of promotions that he just wind his mum and dad up just to take him on weekends because that was his thing. And yeah, the fact that we managed to pull that off and do a show dedicated to his memory was, like I said, yeah, it's probably going to be. There's nothing going to top that. I could main event WrestleMania, but doing something that important to someone that we cared about is so much more important than however many fans we wrestle in front of, or however many titles you get in professional wrestling, or where I get to go and travel, or all this. There's nothing that's going to top driving 40 minutes down the road just to wrestle for free, for raise money for a charity, for a lad that we all loved.
I can see now, do you know what I mean, how much it means to you, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what we'll do is we'll put the charity link in the description so people can go support it. Is that all right?
Yeah, perfect. So it's the Walking with Giants Foundation.
Yep. So once we've obviously once this video goes up, I'll put the link so people can go check it out. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The stuff that they do, even if it just take a couple of minutes. So, it's one of the best doctors in the world for primordial dwarfism is based in the States. It's a very, very rare condition. I think there's only like a handful of people in the UK, let alone like 20, 30, 40 cases in Europe alone. It's a very, very rare condition. And like I said, one of the best doctors possible for it. I could be butchering this, so Sue John, I apologize if I'm butchering any of this. He's based in the States. So what this foundation does is they raise money to be able to fly all these parents in from Europe to Liverpool, and they'll do a week. And he'll also use the money to fly the doctor over or the specialist from America to Liverpool for a week so they can get all the necessary tests that they need, all the updates and stuff like that on the condition. And at the same time, they'll hire out like, I don't know, like a soft play area, or they've hired us a couple of times to go and do a wrestling show for them. And it's only been in front of like 30, 40 people, including like the family. So it's only like small little intimate shows. They'll organize like dinners and loads of activities for all the kids and adults to come over for the week. And yeah, obviously use all that money to bring a doctor over, as opposed to each individual family paying thousands upon thousands to be able to go to America and have this done. So some of the stuff they do for like the cause is absolutely incredible.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I really don't know where to go now. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm a bit like choked a bit. Oh, dear. So yeah, I mean, like I said, man, we're in February now, 2026. I mean, what's the goal? Do you know what I mean for you now?
Goal for me now. I'll be completely honest. I'm always upfront and honest with people. My physical appearance needs a lot of improvement at the moment. Like, we're all our worst critics, but there'll be a couple of things that even though fans don't notice it, you notice it yourself or your peers notice it. So it's improving on the tiny aspects of my wrestling in general, whether it's fitness, whether it's this. That's something that I'm improving on slowly at the moment, because again, fans will, a lot of them don't know why something is good or bad. They just know something is good or bad. So if I trim down a little bit, look a little bit better, look a little bit more the part, that up my fitness a little bit, that allows me to bump faster, feed faster, work faster, do a better work rate match. And the level that I'm getting at now, these are going to be extremely difficult for me if I'm not improving my physical fitness. So I'm hoping for better, again, always striving to be better. I'm hoping for better quality matches, and that's just working on the things behind the scenes that fans won't notice why something is better. They're just going to know it's better. But I know that I need to improve on certain things. So that's currently where I'm at the moment. In terms of wrestling promotions and that, I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. As you say, the cream always rises to the top. So hopefully some of these things that I do is noticed by the right people, and I just keep on improving and doing what I'm doing.
Do you think you'll like branch out to like the North scene and stuff like that?
I'd love to. I've just started making a little small foothold in the Northeast scene at the moment. So there's Zero Limits, which is a little startup company at the moment. I think they've only done 2 or 3 shows. Could be the 4th. It's either the 4th or 5th one coming up. I can't necessarily remember. But again, it's, you go and wrestle for a place. Hopefully the right eyes are on you, whether it's the fans, whether there's a promoter there, whether there's a ring announcer, wrestlers, and it just snowballs. So if you get the right eyes on you, it gets passed on to the right people and go from there. Unfortunately, with wrestling, I send CVs out, you send match footage and stuff like that, but most of the time they've already got the in-house guys. You need someone to notice you as opposed to you begging for someone's attention most of the time. It's not all the time, but word of mouth and being able to see you in person is always better than sending a CV out. So hopefully if North ends up seeing something one day, it'll have to be because I'm in that little foothold or doing something in TNT or yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know obviously the wrestling in Newcastle, promoter, so I might put a cheeky word in.
Oh, always. I know Isaac North's going up there quite a lot, but on the unfortunately as well, with how the wrestling scene isn't oversaturated at the moment, but there's a lot of wrestling. Like, all you need to do is go on your phone, and I guarantee you'll find 3 or 4 promotions that are running this Saturday across the whole entire country. And the Northwest scene tends to be a little bit of a hotbed with the amount of promotions that you get in and around the area. It kind of gets you stuck in certain areas when you are working across the whole of one scene, because then you just kind of get stuck in the Northwest and whatnot. But hopefully there'll be a time where people come knocking. I've got that date available, or I'll be fortunate enough to have to choose between which bookings to take and which bookings not to take. And yeah, hopefully I can branch out a little bit more.
There you go. So I've got a couple of pictures which I can promote. We've kind of showed this a few times, but I'm going to show it again. Do you want to promote this?
Yep. So obviously TNT Level Up. It's the 4th of April, Hangar 34 in Liverpool. They've just moved back to Hangar. Beautiful venue. It's a rave venue, so the sound system's incredible. And then that's always their Money in the Bank gimmick. So you'll have a men's and women's briefcase match. If you remember the old championship scrambles from around about 2009, 2010 for WWE. They do a briefcase scramble. So it's a 20-minute time limit, and the last pinfall wins. So you could pin someone in the first minute, no one else gets pinned for the next 18, and then someone can get a pinfall in the 19th minute, and they're automatically the winner. So it's always a nice little, in a polite way of saying it, it's a beautiful little clusterfuck of a match. So they're always, that's a good thing about TNT. They tend to have nice little gimmicks attached to either the afternoon or evening show. So on the evening show, you've got an entire deathmatch tournament. And I'm not going to let any little exclusives out or anything like that, because Jay out to my wring me neck. But that card is looking incredible because I've had to make the graphics for it so far. So if you're looking for an excuse to go over to Liverpool for a TNT show, the Level Up and DOA tournament's definitely the slice of TNT that you'd expect to get.
Absolutely. This one?
Bash and Bootle, again, another graphic that I've made. I can't really let too much slip on that, but yeah, we've got Trent Seven as our world champion. We're in talks with getting quite a decent name to wrestling for it. Hopefully it pulls through. Yeah, more info on that coming soon. I've not been announced for it yet, but hopefully I'll be getting announced for it soon enough.
There you go. Stay tuned. So instead of promote your Instagram and stuff like that, do you see a little QR code above your head?
Yeah.
If people scan that will take them to your Instagram so they can go support you.
Oh, nice. This fella right here.
Yeah, there you
it
go.
Might be on the different side for you, but
yep, there you go. So if you see a little QR code above Lewis's head, if you scan that will take you to his Instagram. Go and support him, because I know you post a lot of stuff on there, right?
I try to. Alongside that, and just let me get my new graphic design profile up, because I've had to make a new one. 1 second. So my graphic design profile is also LJ Creative. That's LJ Creative dot 1995. So if you want to look on some of my artwork that I've been working on recently, by all means, follow that one as well.
Absolutely. So if you send me all the descriptions and stuff, I'll put them in the link so people can go support you. How's that, man?
Oh, wonderful. That's class.
Is there anything else you'd like to promote, mate?
Not at all. Like I said, next couple of shows coming up. I can always get my calendar out, see what's happening recently. Yep, obviously got Zero Limits on the. Actually, no, that's just gone. Got another one of them coming up soon though. Yeah, it was just in February. Yep, just a bunch of shows coming up. Obviously, TNT, you've got Zero Limits on the 3rd of April as well, the day before. So I'll be in the Northeast on that side of things. I've already been told who I'm wrestling, or, well, the people I'm wrestling anyway. And then you've obviously got the Infinite shows coming up in March, and just keep a lookout for them over the next course of the year, because they're going to be doing some good things.